Now, in the past, most of the time, people looked at book encyclopedias. That's not so common these days because book encyclopedias are very large and very heavy and...
Sorry. What does it mean?
Encyclopedia?
Yeah.
Oh, an encyclopedia is a collection of general information about many different topics, and it's usually in alphabetical order. So, for example, if you needed to find information about Martin Luther King Jr., the famous civil rights leader, you would look under K for King, and there would be a little short article about Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and the things that he's done. Or if you need to look up something about tea leaves, you could look under T for tea leaves, and read something about white tea, milk tea, green tea, whatever kind of tea that you need to find out about. So it's got a lot of really, really excellent general information. Now, online sources. Most of us, and hang on here with me, guys. I know it's kind of hard to listen to me talk the whole period, but we got to know about this credibility information. Online sources. It's really hit and miss. It really is. Some of them are amazingly credible and wonderful, and you should definitely use them in your paper. Some of them are just completely false. Completely false. So we have a whole separate handout about how to evaluate online sources, how to tell whether they're true, whether they're credible, should we use them? Yes. So, okay. Couple more points to think about. Currency. When you find some source and you look at it and you say, I think this looks useful. I think I want to use it in my paper. Look at it. Look at when it was published, when it was made. What's the time of the information that it's talking about? And see if it's still applicable to your research today. Sometimes, even really old information is still applicable to today. Now, literature is a good example of this. When you study literature and write papers about literature, you can look at critics who were writing about this book 200 years ago, if you want. And also look at critics who were writing about this book 5 years ago. You know, anything you want. It's still valid today. But for other topics, especially ones that change quickly, like science, technology, that kind of thing, you need very, very recent sources. Comparability. Now what this means is when you compare different sources together, do they all match with facts? So, does the information in the source match up with similar information in other sources? Biases, we just talked about that. Try to be careful about what kinds of biases appear in the sources that you are using. Then usefulness. Does the source really give you the kind of information you need and the quality of information you need? And here's how you can find out. Aha. So, for those of you who are concerned about looking through books, you can sort of figure out how useful the book is going to be for you by looking at the table of contents in the front or the index in the back. A lot of scholarly books have indices, that's the plural of index, that give keywords that appear throughout the book, and that way if you see that list of keywords, you can say, oh, it does talk about my topic. Okay, I can look at this page and this page about it. Books and articles. You can also read introductions, prefaces, abstract, and chapter headings. An abstract is a short paragraph at the very beginning of an article that describes what the whole thing is about. Most academic journal articles have an abstract, and it makes your life of research so much easier. You just read it and you're like, well, bam, I can use this is perfect, or this is not good, moving on. Prefaces and introductions are just preparatory material before the book or the article starts. And then chapter headings. What's the title of the chapter? It's pretty easy. Also look at things like the publication date, the author's background, is it fact or opinion, how does the author support his or her points, and the amount of detail in the information. All right then. So we're going to think about some topics. Let me open a new document here. I have space to write. Okay. Good, it's 9:10. We still have some time. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write some topics here on the screen. And I want you guys to throw out some ideas about what kind of sources you may be able to use to find research about this topic. So, the first one we might want to think about, here I want bigger text. Do we have any font preferences, guys? Do you have any fonts that you really like?
Sorry.
I usually use Arial.
Yeah.
Arial is okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm willing to do the fun ones. Anyway, okay, our first topic. How about the history of Springfield, Missouri? That's where we live, right? So, if you were writing some paper about this topic, what kind of sources do you guys think, based on what we just talked about now, the handout that you have in your hand, what kind of sources would probably be most useful?
History book.
History books, yes.
Periodical sources.
Yes.
Academic journals.
I would agree.
Online.
How about the church, I think?
Churches, yes.
Yeah, because Springfield has a lot of churches.
There's one of the churches in this town has been standing here since like 1848 or something like that. And they have a lot of historical stuff about the history of the church, and along with that, maybe you would be able to find some history about the town as well.
The St. Agnes or the church?
What?
Is it the St. Agnes church or the church?
No, it's really close to St. Agnes though. It's First Baptist Springfield, right downtown there. So yes, and they have an archive of historical information in their church. So churches might be a good place to look. Even website, most cities have their own website, right? So you can look on the city website and find something about the history, something about what happened just last year or maybe 2 years ago, anything like that. I think it might be kind of hard to find academic journal articles about the history of Springfield, because
Springfield is not a very famous city, so.
that's true. But historians, historical scholars, write articles about places too. So maybe if you look in a journal specifically about history, maybe you might find something here. All right, another topic. Here, I have a list. Let me see my list. Da, da, da. Ooh, this is a good one. Ha, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. How teachers should help students learn to write at American universities.
Oh, yeah.
Where would we find information about this topic?
Google.
What?
That's the